Today we bring you one of the most exhilarating, most thrilling, mind-blowing, nerve-wracking and dazzling stories of pirate attacks around the globe. How the US Navy warship battles pirates on international waters. We look at tactical and countermeasures they use to battle piracy. Among many include intelligence gathering, missiles, warship and propelled grenades. The Somalian Pirates are one of the most fiercely and vicious African warlords. They have gained territorial powers along the Gulf of Aden, in the Guardarfi Channels and the Somali Sea. From the early years of 2001, coupled with the sudden emergence of the Somalian Civil War from 1991, piracy has been an all-time stigma to the Horn of Africa. Imagine an encounter when Somalian pirates with cutlasses, guns, pistols, AK-47 assault rifles, RPG launchers come into a face-to-face encounter with the mighty ships of the US Navy. It is only one of a cataclysmic, apocalyptic, timeless, adventurous drama every eye will love to witness. These pirates will usually launch their attacks in about 260 nautical miles offshore the coast of the Somalian waters, with speedboat from a mothership and yet armed with automatic firearms. Their remarkable understanding of trade route also help them in their seizure and operations. Somali pirates have been described as masters of stealth and deception. They set their sights on the unsuspecting cargo ship, and with practiced precision, they maneuver their speedboats closer with their intentions, veiled behind opaque masks, and only the glint of their weapons in the fading light can be seen. The United States has approximately 500 fleet of Navy ships, ranging from the mighty destroyer, minesweepers, patrol ships, dock landing ships, littoral combat ships, mine warfare ships, Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, which among many others are both in active service and others in reserve. Many are also under construction per the report of the US Naval Ship Registry to equip these massive warships with a more technological and sophisticated, state-of-the-art defense system with an exceeding 350 meters length, a 300,000 tons capacity. Yet it is not just an easy win in such a fierce encounter with these vicious, audacious and daring breeds of African pirates who are hardened to the core and will stop at nothing to seize, capture, bargain hundreds of millions in ransom before the release of these great vessels. History of piracy. The root cause of piracy have been premised on social disruption and civil unrest motivated by greed, war and personal gain. In England, small farmers had no choice but to move to urban places looking for work or some relief after ruthlessly forced out by wicked and lawless aristocrats who were mainly landowners and tradesmen. The sumptuous and the elite of society rules even as we have it today in our capitalist economy. The impoverished communities and increasing unemployment lead to many making a better life of the sea as seamen, and later in their evil desire to survive and to take more control of their lives in any way possible, were turned into pirates. This offered them not a chance to get rich quickly, but also the opportunity to take their life and exert a revengeful degree of power over others. Piracy has existed for centuries, and the current prevalence in this millennial century is not surprising at all. It has reared its ugly face in the mainstream media, garnering international attentions and the headlines it so seeks. The Golden Age was once said by historians to have been prevalent with piracy, especially in the 18th century, where over 6,000 pirates were at sea, targeting ships, tracking trading routes, seizing cargoes of grain and olives from Roman ships as far back as the early medieval Europe, and where they were known as the infamous Vikings. They understood the use of navigational tools like ship compass, telescope and spyglass to spy lands, islands, ships, natural landmarks and their finesses to measure nautical accuracy and use quadrants to measure their latitudes, made them one of sea intelligentsias. They leveraged sea charts to determine reefs, landmass, water depths, and also their orientation relative to the equator. Accurate chart was their greatest asset. Famous pirates included Henry Morgan, William Captain, Bartholomew Roberts, and the fearsome Blackbeard Edward Teach. From the Golden Age till now, this global menace is still prevalent, stretching the Somalian waters even to the South China Seas, and by the statistical report of the World Bank, reveals a staggering $18 billion loss to the world economy. You have heard of the pirates of the Caribbean and the discovery of the great United States of America. By Christopher Columbus in America, Columbus Day is celebrated on 14th of October of every year. People hold parades, organize markets, celebrate arts, and the indigenous American Indians are celebrated as well. Today, Columbus Holiday is celebrated throughout the Americas as Dia de la Raza in South American countries like Argentina, Colombia, Peru, Venezuela, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Mexico, and among other Caribbean countries. It is also celebrated in Spain and Italy. The great Italian Christopher Columbus in the 15th century, as he gained the support of the Spanish monarchy under the reign of Ferdinand II and Queen Isabella I to support his passion to uncover the westward route of the Indies, land known today to be China, India and Japan, which were known to be rich of silver, gold and gem. From the 16th century, galleons, which were large Spanish ships, sailed back to Europe with precious cargoes that pirate found irresistible. As Spanish settlers began settling around the mainland of these new discovered land and other Caribbean island, it became a great vantage point of pirate attack, leading to the known history lingo: Pirates of the Caribbean. Along the coast of North Africa, on the Mediterranean shores, were also corsairs operating in the 17th and 18th century, and buccaneers and privateers, which were pirates that lived on the Caribbean islands. We ask ourselves how Somalia became known for this vicious global menace, affecting hundreds of millions of international trades along the coastal lines of the Gulf of Aden. Sorry to say, modern-day piracy is not a movie, as you have probably watched the likes of Pirates of the Caribbean, starred by Captain Jack Sparrow, portrayed by the great actor Johnny Depp, or Captain Phillip, which was based off on the 2009 Maersk Alabama hijacking, with Tom Hanks starring as Captain Richard Phillips, an American merchant mariner who was taken at ransom by Somali pirates, with Barkat Abdi as the main Somalian ringleader in the attack. These movies only scratch the surface of this real canker rampaging the Gulf of Aden. These movies only dramatize one of the many attacks of contemporary piracy around the globe. Let's talk about the Maersk Alabama hijacking. In 2009, April 8, a Somalian attack on the MV Maersk Alabama, a Danish/US cargo ship, was attacked by 4 Somalian pirates between the ages of 15 and 18, led by Abduwali Musi, about 260 nautical miles of the Somalian waters. This drew the world attention, since a ship sailing with an American flag has not been captured since 1820s. The US government, per its intelligence, had issued a warning to the ship's captain to stay off at least 600 nautical miles of the Somalian waters. But Captain Phillips' regrettable decision of staying 240 nautical miles made it all possible for the pirate attack. The ship had a total crew of 23 with over 17,000 tons of items, 401 containers of food from USAID, serving the World Food Programme for people in Somalia, Uganda, Kenya, and Rwanda refugees. When the 4 pirates attacked the ship, the chief engineer brought 14 members of the crew to a safe room and initiated protocols for their safety. The rest of the crew engaged in a fierce exchange of fiery fire. Attempts to deter these Somalian teens were unsuccessful, and they boarded the ship. The captain and the chief engineer brought the entire ship to a halt, while engaging in negotiation with these deadly hardened African warlords. The pirate were able to finally take the captain hostage. The US destroyer Bainbridge arrived on the next day, and in a 3-day standoff under the authorization of then-President Barack Obama, the US Navy snippers accurately fired, taking down 3 pirates, arresting Abduwali Musi, and finally rescuing Captain Phillips. A much detailed and vivid account is well narrated by the captain in his book, A Captain's Duty. The MV Atlantic Queen cargo ship attack. In March 2023, the MV Atlantic Queen, a cargo ship en route to deliver goods to West Africa, found itself under siege in the notorious waters of the Gulf of Guinea. The crew of 12, a mix of nationalities, was caught off guard by the sudden appearance of a group of armed pirates. Under the cloak of darkness, the pirates, armed with automatic rifles and machetes, stormed the vessel with ruthless efficiency. Their faces obscured by masks, they swiftly took control, overpowering the crew who were ill-prepared for such an assault. The MV Atlantic Queen remained at the mercy of the pirates, drifting aimlessly in the vast expanse of the Gulf of Guinea. Negotiations for the ransom were tense, with authorities and the ship's owners working tirelessly to secure the release of the crew. Finally, after the ransom of about 500,000 was paid, the crew were released. The MV Silver Star ship attack. In the heart of the vast Indian Ocean, where the horizon stretches endlessly and the sea whispers tales of adventure and danger, the MV Silver Star sailed on its routine voyage. Little did its crew of 18 know that their journey would soon be hijacked by the ruthless hands of piracy. Chaos erupted as the pirates stormed aboard the MV Silver Star, their weapons glinting in the moonlight as they seized control with swift and brutal efficiency. The crew, caught off guard by the ferocity of the attack, could only watch in horror as their ship was overrun by the invaders. But amidst the darkness, a glimmer of hope emerged. A daring rescue mission, coordinated by a coalition of international forces, was launched to liberate the MV Silver Star from the clutches of piracy. In a dramatic showdown on the high seas, the pirates were confronted by a force determined to restore order and justice. With valor and resolve, the rescuers fought tooth and nail to reclaim the vessel and free its captive crew. Somali and causes of piracy. The root cause of the civil unrest can be traced back to the collapse of the Siad Barre regime in 1991. Siad Barre's authoritarian rule, marked by corruption, human rights abuses, and economic mismanagement, led to widespread discontent among the Somali population. Opposition groups, including clan-based militias, rose up against the government, eventually overthrowing Siad Barre and plunging the country into a power vacuum. The power gap allowed group with gun to take over, allowing foreign boat to take advantage of Somalian water. Local fishermen trooned into pirates in a bid to protect their money and business. The once thriving fishing industry had all but vanished, leaving many like Somalians struggling to make ends meet. Driven by desperation and a desire to provide for their families, these men took to the sea, hijacking cargo ships and demanding ransom from wealthy nations. In the eyes of Hassan and his peers, piracy became a way to reclaim their dignity and assert control in a world that had long abandoned them. But behind the bravado and the allure of riches lay a harsh reality. Piracy brought violence, danger, and the constant threat of retribution from international forces. Many pirates, like Hassan, found themselves trapped in a cycle of violence and despair, their dreams of a better life fading with each passing day. The prolonged conflict and political instability have resulted in the collapse of Somalia's economy. Infrastructure has been destroyed, institutions dismantled, and basic services such as healthcare and education severely lacking. This economic collapse has left many Somalis living in poverty with limited access to livelihood opportunities. Somalia's lack of effective maritime governance and law enforcement has allowed piracy to flourish off its coast. The absence of a functioning central government and a capable coast guard has made Somali waters attractive to pirates seeking to hijack cargo ships and demand ransom. Control of piracy. In a coordinated effort, the United States and NATO allies deployed naval forces to patrol the waters off the coast of Somalia, forming a formidable barrier against pirate attacks. Their mission: to hunt down pirates, protect merchant ships, and restore order to the high seas.